Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Lefty. Hey, Lefty, what you say?
What's going on? Welcome to the Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm your guy, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. That guy over there, the original Lucky Lefty. Malik Zaire at Overtime Malik. Thank you guys for joining us as always. Subscribe to us on Lucky Lefty Podcast, the YouTube channel. We're also available on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much to all the subscribers out there, everybody that's been watching our videos, sending out content. So I got some questions for you today, Malik, from some of our listeners. And some of our subscribers have been leaving some great contents under our videos. Continue to do so. And don't forget, you can follow us at Lucky Lefty Pod on social media. That's Instagram and Twitter as well. We're going to talk about the second half coming up. And then we're going to talk about who we think are the first half MVPs on offense and defense. Let's start with the offense. There are a lot of people that could be up for this first half MVP, right?
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And I'll just give you contenders. If I miss somebody, let me know. Tyler Buckner could be an MVP.
Could be an MVP.
The usual suspect, Kyron Williams, could be an MVP.
Could be MVP.
Because of certain big plays, Kevin Austin could be an MVP.
Could be MVP.
Michael Mayer could definitely be an MVP.
He was my guy I was going with anyway this year.
So, and then for me, I think I'll cut it off right there.
Okay.
So,
really?
Drunk, yeah.
You sure you'll cut it off?
Yeah, I said if I miss somebody, let me know. So if you feel like somebody else needs to be on the ballot, speak now.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think what you put up there is fair.
All right, let's drum roll it. The first half MVP is on offense.
I got my guy Kyron Williams, man.
Okay, the Bulldog.
I got my guy Kyron Williams.
The Bulldog, the anchor. All right.
And it's because he's the most consistent in every game, and without him, it would be a lot worse. And I think he's contributed well enough, maybe not at the level of last year's peak was, not yet. However, without Kyron Williams being that glue to the team, and with the expectations that he is a primary ball carrier and primary go-to on our offense, he's still able to be productive even with all the things that we have changing at quarterback. And I think without him, it'll be a lot uglier out there. But with him, he's making it seem fixable at least.
It gives them a base point for that offense to work off of, regardless of whether or not the offensive line is playing well or the running game is really going the way we expect it to go. Teams have to worry about that. They scheme for Kyron Williams each and every week. And so that makes it much more difficult for him and the offensive line to really get going. They want to put the ball in the hands of the quarterbacks that have been inconsistent. All three have played, and all three have had some flashes, and all three have made mistakes. You have the people's champ, Drew Pine. You have the up-and-comer, Tyler Buckner, and you have Jack Cohn, who is just who he is. Yeah.
I think as quarterback by committee would have to be jointed together. I don't think Tyler could individually be the season's MVP on offense by himself, due to the fact that Jack Combs played really, really huge in some moments for us in the season, that his experience alone got us out of some tough situations.
Yeah, he's been a great closer, to use a baseball analogy. Like, he literally has come in and gotten the toughest outs or the toughest points in a game.
Yeah, stuff that guys really wouldn't want to be in situationally.
Yep.
Especially coming in cold, coming in and out, starting and then finishing, but not, what I'm saying? So for him to be able to be called on, and it seems like that's just kind of his gauntlet for this season from Coach Kelly. And Coach Kelly makes it seem like that's just what he does. I don't think that's what he wants to do, but that's definitely something that Coach Kelly puts him up to. So he's going, and he talks about, he's like, yeah, well, when you get a guy like that, you just love seeing it. He never quits. I don't think Jack's every day like, man, I can't wait to go in and save the day or go in when it's the hardest spot on the field to get the team out of the position. But
yeah,
that's kind of the situation.
I think Michael Mayer is viable as well, because a lot of people out there might be saying, no, Michael Mayer, from a number standpoint, he had the big game against Cincinnati. He has been playing with a growing injury for the majority of the first half. And I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad with someone saying Michael Mayer.
The only reason why I wouldn't say Michael Mayer, only because he's had some drops that, that could have changed the tide in some of the games that we played.
Yeah.
Could have sealed some of the games away a lot earlier, a lot easier. Just he's been consistent, but there's been some lapses. But when you're the number one target on the passing offense, in my opinion, you facing a lot of different things going on. But that's why I gave it to Kyron, only because Kyron's been productive running it, and when he hasn't been able to run as well, he's been clutch moments catching it, and he's that piece that we really need to push through the rest of the season. Both of them are, but he's been doing a good job.
Yeah. And then we mentioned Kevin Austin as another contender. I really think he probably comes in last place in the voting for first half MVP. But you have to put him on there because he's had some major big plays, especially the big plays. Against Wisconsin, big play. Florida State, big play. 2-point conversion, that catch against Virginia Tech. Guy pulling his face mask. He hauls it in out of nowhere. Big play. So it's just his inconsistency against Purdue, against Cincinnati, not showing up against teams that want to come up and bump and run and allowing them to take him out of his game. But as we said before, that was on him majority, but it was also on the scheme and what Tommy Rees was calling. We asked for Tommy Rees to move him around, get him in the slot, don't leave him in the same position all the time. And what happened the next game against Virginia Tech?
He did his thing, man. He did his thing, and that's the situation we want to be in. We want to have him one-on-one, making big plays. He's a big guy, and we don't have the arm to overthrow him, so let's not throw it out of bounds either. Just give him a chance. Let him go up with the one-on-ones, and then we'll handle most of the other things in between the 20s. We'll be able to move the ball down the field fine. But when it comes to that red zone, he's a key player for us and should be moving on.
Now, from a quarterback standpoint, before we go to the defensive side of the ball, when you put him and you go 4 wide, or you say you go to a 3-1, you come out in 13, and you split Kyron out. But you have Kyron on the outside, and you have Michael Mayer and Kevin Austin on the inside. How does that make it so difficult, or much more difficult, to defend what you're trying to do in the passing game when you have those 2 big guys on the inside rather than Kevin Austin just being on the outside?
Well, it makes the dynamic a lot tougher for defenses depending on who you want to bracket. There's a lot of tension in the middle of the field if you got those 2 guys there, and then you put Kyron and Chris Tyree as like a set and just play in the middle of the field and just hope that they can't make plays. I think that gives you putting Kevin Austin on the inside and just maybe putting the Avery Davis on the outside or Braden Lindsey outside of him to give you some more speed down the field. I think that's a way better of a set for us. That way, guys that can't throw the cross field pass or guys that don't have such a strong arm, you can take a lot of chances giving it over the middle with bigger and stronger guys like Michael Mayer and and Kevin Austin. And what makes it great too is that you bracket, and it's easier to bracket a guy in the middle when you're doing it to Michael Mayer. But if you put Kevin Austin on the other side in the middle at the slot, now how those linebackers are gonna be stressed, because then you got to play the run with Kyron, worry about those guys on the inside running, increasing your defense. That's gonna put a lot of pressure on defenses, especially helping our guy Jack getting the ball out of his hands quicker. He can see better instead of trying to throw up a lot of one-on-one balls with not such a strong arm, cross the field 50, 60 yards in the air is a little hard to do.
Let's go to the defensive side of the ball.
It's only one guy for me. It's only one
guy.
guy.
Yeah, but we have to give the list of nominees.
Yeah, but
we have to give the list of nominees. So I believe Jason Ademiyola. Ademiyola. Let me say that correctly. Ademiyola.
My bad, bro.
Yeah. He's a nominee. I think he's played phenomenally.
Yeah.
In the first half. He's been phenomenal. Isaiah Foskey.
He's up there. Yeah.
Could be a nominee.
But yeah, like 6 sacks on the season right now.
Yeah. And it should have had at least a half or 2.5 more if the other side of the offensive line was containing against.
Yeah, they let him run out the gate. He was closing the window. They let him out the gate,
man. Cam Hart can definitely
be in there. His name been in there the whole time.
Yeah. Cam Hart could definitely be a nominee. And I think my favorite defensive player to watch, J.D. Bertrand.
Yeah.
That kid has just been all over the field. And the stats show it. He's almost double digits in tackles every game. Last but not least, Kyle Hamilton.
He last? Is he really last?
He saved the best for last. You always save the best for last. You always save the best for last.
Oh man, I think it is a good list. I do think it's a good list.
Do we need a drum roll?
They're all very qualified. It's just undisputed right now. It's Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I just think without him, we wouldn't be 6-1. We wouldn't be 6-1.
Yeah.
We would be more like probably 3-3. Probably would have lost Florida State. And I think that would have set a bad precedent for the rest of the games if we lost that first game. So, Cincinnati wouldn't have been the only team to take a piece out of us if we didn't have 14 out there. But credit to 14 for being there. Shoot, I mean, he didn't saved us in a lot of moments. He's been able to get the NIL, popping for Notre Dame players, taking off the helmet. I mean, he's definitely an established foundational piece to our team, and we've been doing great. Doing great because of it.
And we just want to mention that this episode of the Lucky Lefty podcast is sponsored by Notre.
Yeah.
See it right there? We'll get to it.
Got the promo board. Listen, I'm telling you,
board right there.
Every time you coming on the podcast, the subscribers is coming. You're gonna see more and more things pop up on our end. And this is the baby of the crew right here, the Notre Whiskey Bourbon. Check it out. Check it out. You'll never be disappointed.
And I'll tell you a little secret. It tastes better if you drink it left-handed.
That's right. That's that left thumb that we put in there. It's the secret ingredient. I gave some trade secrets out. I'm sorry, but listen, we spin it different.
So I want to talk about two guys, right? You just talked about the importance of Kyle Hamilton. I want to talk about the importance of Cam Hart as well. Because what Marcus Freeman wants to do and what he likes to do with his linebackers, the multiple ways he uses them, and the multiple defensive fronts he uses, to just know, Cam, go out there, stick that guy. You got them all.
It's really
that's huge.
I really look at Kyle Hamilton and Cam Hart like Batman and Robin. Cam Hart's a good Robin because he's a young protege, because you can see the potential. You can see he can be like Batman. He has flashes. You can trust him on big assignments, on a one-on-one when you need it. Can he do the full payload? Not just yet, but you can see that he plays well as a compliment to Kyle when they throw away from him. He's taken on some good challenges and came through. Definitely a Robin compared to Batman. When you running out of bounds on a pick six, that should have been.
That hurt you. We had to deduct points. We had to deduct points for that.
we have to deduct points for that.
We definitely have to deduct points.
But as a young guy, that's a transitional guy, man, he's making headways, and definitely I can see him taking it to the next level.
So the next guy I want to talk about, we talked about JD Bertrand, but I just think Jason Adamiola. I don't know why I struggle with his last name, man. Jason Adamiola. There you go. He has just played so much better every year.
Yeah.
He was forced into action his freshman year, played last year. Honestly, I think he's playing out of position. And what I mean by that,
I think he should be.
He's in the inside. But I think when you get him into the NFL, I think
might be a linebacker.
Because they will probably bring him down because he's pushing 300, but he really doesn't need to be there. Mm-hmm. He's probably more effective at 285, 290. So when he loses weight and he ends up playing the edge in a 3-4,
they probably see him a little bit like a Sheldon Day a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's going to be far more effective once he gets to the league. Yeah. He'll be one of those guys that he might end up being late second, third round pick out of Notre Dame, and all of a sudden he gets to the NFL and it's like, yo.
That's like Khalid. Khalid, he's playing great for the Bengals. He was able to be a fourth round or third round guy, round. But his ability at Notre Dame, he played the edge and he was good, but it wasn't the superstar flash. But now he's at the Bengals. He's making it. He's killing it. He's starting. He's doing well. And so he's a guy that I wouldn't say played out of position, but he grew into the position and developed in really the right way once he got to the league. So
you have to give a tip of the cap to Mike Elston too. I mean, I won't say underappreciated, but the development of these young defensive linemen over the years since he's been there has been pretty consistent. And I think we talked about not having that guy, that Jadeveon Clowney type that will probably take the program to the next level if we get a couple of those guys, especially a stud at defensive tackle. But these guys come in, most of them are probably need to put on pounds, need to put on weight, and he develops them. Most of them were forced into playing early because of depth issues. And somehow, some way, by the time they get to the middle of that second year, going into that third year, they're on NFL draft boards, man.
It's a really big credit to Coach Elston, Mike Elston, and as well as Coach Kelly, in that they have a good track record of developing NFL talent at that position. From Tuitt to Nix to Sheldon to Prince to Eshak. I mean, the list, the Cora brothers. Just to watch those guys over time, a guy like Romeo, not only did he play early, he was the youngest on the team. He was like 15, 16.
Right.
And he had so much potential. And then, by the time he got ready to leave, he developed into a monster that's, playing and doing well right now in the league. Signed another second huge contract.
Deal. Yeah.
I mean, a player that developed from the beginning. And he was just one of the many different pieces from that 2012 D-line roster. Coach Elston has a lot of credit to the players that he can go into a family or a recruit's house and be like, look, I just got to let the sheet roll out. He's definitely been underappreciated just because he's been in the background of, Van Gorder and, you got Marcus Freeman, you got Carl Lee. So he's kind of been in the background of those great coaches themselves. But he's been an integral part, just like Coach Easton was, at building the trenches, the trenches that have been important to sustaining our 10-win seasons.
Now, before we wrap this up, I want to ask you a serious question. we've seen the first half, right? Because we can't nominate. I don't want to say who's the offensive coordinator of the first half. Is it Tommy Rees or Marcus Freeman? Like, no. Let's do the second half clean sheet. We do a clean sheet for you all that are new to the podcast. Before every game on our preview show, Malik, I give them a clean sheet, which is the game plan. Like, what should Tommy Rees want to do? How should he want to attack this team offensively? Let's do a second half clean sheet. Big picture. Things possibly we didn't see in the first half. Looks like the offensive line has improved based upon what we saw against Virginia Tech. If that trend continues, what's the second half clean sheet for Tommy Rees?
I think it's just more of a development of who do you want as that full-time guy and trying to get closer to it. I think you've found in highlights throughout the season what ebbs and flows of the game work best.
Yeah.
With which quarterback and the plays you were running. I think at this point you have enough data to be like, okay, this is the direction that we can go and this is what it can look like.
Yeah.
This is what they're comfortable with. And you can get a better picture of how you want to start the second half of the season because this is where it really gets gritty. Teams have also has the same film on you guys. So they're going to know what your best and worst things are. I do think one of the things we should add into the offense is throwing some more quick screens to Kevin Austin. I think him being so big, you making it easy for the DB when you're running away from the ball. Let's throw it right to him.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can tackle him all game.
Yeah, because that's just like the same way Purdue and Jeff Brom uses David Bell.
Oh, yeah.
The monster game he had against Iowa, it was slants, it was quick screens, double moves, fly routes, everything you can imagine. They got the ball to him.
And that's what we have to do as an offense. We have to stress other team secondaries. I mean, if you look at our roster of receivers from even when I was playing, you got your Miles, Chase Claypools, EQs. You got even the guy that plays for the Chargers last year, number 11, his name Ben something.
Ben Scarani.
Scarani. You got, I mean, these guys are huge.
Yeah.
Michael Mayer, Kevin All, huge. So these are the guys that needs to be stressing these little DBs that we play every week. And it'll open up the offense a lot more and take the stress off the offensive line if you just make guys tackle our big freaking receivers. And even throw Michael Mayer out there, let him, everything doesn't have to be a route. Sometimes we like to run the ball straight ahead. Let's just throw it outside and make them tackle us. And I think doing that, you can set up a lot more things downfield that we like to do. And it could just be a nuance to our offense.
Yeah, I know our top two running backs are Chris Tyree and Kyron. I do want to see a few more touches for Baby Tyrion. Baby T is what I call him.
Baby T.
Logan Diggs, that's Baby T. They are, man. He is. You watch that dude run, it's like,
he got it in him.
Brother.
Yeah, my little brother. I mean, I think Avery Davis is like Amir Carlisle. He really got a good archetype of what he wants his certain positions to look like for sure.
I need more jet sweeps and reverses. I need the ball to get in the hand. You can't have speed like Avery Davis and Braden Lindsey and just have them running post routes and fly routes. Like,
is that it? Is that all we can bring to the table? I don't think so.
Yeah, that clean sheet needs to be a little bit more developed in the second half. So, as always, go to Lucky Lefty Podcast for more great content. Let's talk about the second half. USC up first. Dreadful. North Carolina, after that, they just held on against a Miami team that is just not good.
Disappointing. Yeah, disappointing.
They had to hold on at home. High-scoring game. Both teams are going to give up points to this offense. I think this is when the Notre Dame offense might put the 40 spot on the board in back-to-back weeks. Mark it down.
I don't know if I would count on that.
I think so. because I think both offenses are used to just scoring at will, and I don't think they'll be able to do that. Both offenses turn the ball over and commit a lot of penalties. So I see the Notre Dame offense mixed with a couple of pick sixes or fumble returns.
That would have to be.
Maybe
We couldn't score 40 on our own. You know, I don't think we can do that on our own.
You don't think so?
We couldn't score 40
Do you
against
think it's
Toledo.
going to happen in the second half?
We couldn't score 40 against Toledo.
But the offensive line is playing better. You have to.
That's just not. I don't think that's our style of play this year. To be scoring 40, 50 points to see. We look like we can, but that's
we can't put 40 on Navy.
No. It'll be a close game. Look, all of these games will be close games.
No, Navy won't be close.
Navy will be close.
No, this isn't the Navy we're used to.
Navy will be close because one, Navy always makes it close with us. They always do. There's never been a time Navy didn't make it close with us. Hasn't, not lately. And then secondly, you gotta look at it. I don't think that Coach Kelly, in fairness, is gonna really just go with one guy for the rest of the season. If that's the case, there's no way we're single-handedly putting up 40 because of the ebbs and turns we're gonna have. Now, I do think we'll win most of these games, but the way we like to win is when it's close and when everybody pulls their hair out.
What game? USC, North Carolina, Navy, Virginia. Go back to the Commonwealth.
Virginia got the number one passing offense in the country right now.
Yeah, but the rest of the squad is trash.
Yeah, but good grief.
The rest of the squad is trash. Come on, man. Look. Have you watched Virginia play? Have you honestly? I know what the numbers
I haven't watched them play. I
know what the numbers say. Have you watched Virginia play?
I haven't watched them.
The quarterback can probably hurt if we don't set the edges, especially with the pass rush. I don't think the initial pass routes will really hurt Notre Dame's defense. But the off-script plays and scrambling definitely can be a problem because it's been a problem.
It has.
Running game, not worried about it.
Not worried about it.
No, because I think second half, I think this defense takes a step. I think this defense takes another step. First of all, because this defense will be healthier than it's been all season.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, I think you start to see some of these youngsters like a Ramon Henderson get more snaps, be more impactful. And I think it's set in stone who they are from a defensive standpoint. I think that defense started to get worn down because the offense left them out there on the field a lot in the first half. So what you start to see towards the end of the Cincinnati game and the Virginia Tech game was a defense that was a little worn out, playing hard. But it's like, and I think that's why you saw Marcus Freeman at Virginia Tech blitz a lot more than he normally does.
Trying to get him up.
Yeah, trying to like, man, I need to get pressure. He knew his guys were tired, and the bye week came at a perfect time. It really did. It came at a perfect time for that team, and to get that Virginia Tech win on the road was like the perfect way from a mental standpoint for that team to go into the break and understand, okay, let's reboot. We still have an opportunity at a big bowl game. And this is something we joked about, but the way college football is going, this might have been the year to like jump in the tournament.
Yeah, we might mess around.
Like in the tournament this year because Alabama and Clemson are gone. If you're going to have a shot to win it, you might as well win it this year.
And I like our chances versus Georgia. I think we called a good game when we played them down there last time.
You know why you like the chances versus Georgia? You know why you like the chances versus Georgia?
Why?
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart gonna give it up.
And you know he's gonna play conservative. Oh, dude. They should have beat Kentucky by like 40.
Oh yeah, I mean
40.
they're just so much more talented than a lot of teams, and it's just obvious. Every play, you like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that?
The one, I don't know if you guys can go and watch the first touchdown because they scored at the end, but Georgia was kind of like in prevent and big lead.
Toying with their food.
It was a big backdoor loss for a lot of bettors that had Georgia.
Yeah,
because they had covered the spread until that point, and Mark Stoops calls timeout.
like really, yeah, he must have got that call from
from Vegas, like
call.
Right,
that red phone call on the sideline.
Man, when an offensive coordinator has to go to his 2-point plays just to be able to drive the ball, go watch the first touchdown drive.
Yeah, and the nice misdirection with the leak out.
He used every misdirection and every trick play. He used that just to be able to score.
Yeah,
and that's what it takes. You're not about to line up against Georgia and just run offense.
You got to hit them with stuff they haven't seen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not. I don't know how many plays you have on that sheet. There's only so much you can do.
I saw a lot of cool things. Though. They did a lot of cool things. But but man, if that's a hard week to prep when you making up a whole new sheet of plays.
Have you ever had a moment when you're in the film room and the coach was saying one thing?
Yeah.
You're looking at the film saying,
I don't know, man.
I don't know how I don't see what he's saying.
Because they're crushing. Because we're so used to seeing the highlights and all of that. But what's killing teams when they're watching this Georgia football team is like the every down play. There's stuff that we're not seeing on TV. They're seeing the film as like a random 2nd and 6 where they just blow up the entire play. You're like, oh my goodness, this is every down.
Yeah.
This is every down. How are we game planning this? This is every down. We thought we had players. So
at one play they had a quick screen to the right, and the wide receiver broke the first tackle, and you're thinking to yourself like, "Uh-oh, this might go somewhere."
Yeah.
And here comes the free safety scene out of nowhere, flashing into the screen. It's like, where did he come from?
Yeah, and they're flying around. That's a team that flies around.
It's just like they're big, they're fast, they're deep, and they're smart.
They're smart. They play real tough.
So, yeah, this is an all-time defense. Like I said, this is an all-time defense. So, yeah, I think the defense, Notre Dame's defense, comes back rejuvenated. I think they take the next step in the evolution of Marcus Freeman's defense. And like I said, we talked about what we wanted to see from the offense. What I want to see from Brian Kelly is just enjoy being a good program. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Stop being the Grinch at these press conferences.
He's so pressed on winning this championship.
Like, just understand where you are, keep building, keep developing these teams, and go get one of those difference makers that's left on the board for this recruiting class.
That's it. Just get a difference maker.
That's it.
Be a difference maker.
That's it.
And talked about every week.
That's it. So that's what's next for Notre Dame. We got the slant coming up this week. We also have our preview of USC, which is going to be fun for me for personal reasons. And a wrap up for personal reasons. I showed Malik something on Friday. I'm at war. It is literally
household.
It's a civil war over here at my house. So we'll get into that. And then this week we go into the film room, the cutting floor with Malik to talk about some possible difference makers at quarterback.
Program changes.
Because, let me tell you something. That 13 out there in Norman, the kids you got to watch in high school, yeah, he's pretty good.
It's a guy, you know, we need.
And I mean, that goes to one of the questions before I let you go. One of our listeners wrote this question in response to our Tyler Buckner convo on the slant. When you used him, you talked about the eye test, and you brought up Caleb Williams. They brought up the fact that he was a true freshman, Tyler Buckner, and the fact that he hasn't played football in a long time. So it's unfair to compare him to Caleb Williams. Your response to that?
You saw Caleb Williams play.
Once again, the eye test.
You would think that Caleb Williams was playing a lot. He didn't play the whole season for real. He played less than Tyler getting into the season. So I don't know how long it may, you know, everybody is at a different pace on how they pop onto the scene.
Yeah.
But Caleb doesn't take very long, like Tyler's is taking. Now, a lot of factors can play into it, but from an eye test, one looks more comfortable than the other.
And Caleb looks much smoother.
Much smooth. And that's just a natural thing. You know, Ian was a smooth guy. Brandon wasn't very smooth in a comparison. Like, Brandon was good, but if you eye tested it, you're like, oh, Ian just kind of just does it. Brandon was like, oh, he does it, but it looked like it hurt. Like, Tyler, it looks like it hurts when he's out there, you know. Not that he's not playing good. It's just, you know, it's just a eye test. You know, it's a way to look at it.
Hey, that's what we give you right here. We spin it different for you right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. So, like I said, we got our slant coming up this week, USC preview, and then the Rappo show will be live Saturday night, right on the Lucky Lefty podcast channel. So I'm guesstimating that will be around, as we'll wait for Brian Kelly to give his press conference. So I'm guesstimating 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central, midnight. So you guys on the East Coast, stay up with us. You'll be up anyway until the end of the game.
That's right.
Well, we'll talk about it because I see a blowout coming personally. But
okay, yeah, that's what I hope for every week.
I see a blowout coming, but we'll dig into that in the preview show and a little bit on the slant. So for my guy Malik, Zaire, I'm Shaun Davis. We see you next time. Lucky Lefty Podcast.
Hit us up, baby. We spin it different.
You're listening to the Lucky Lefty Podcast with Malik Zaire.
Never will there ever be another like me. You can play the left because it ain't no right in me.
And Shaun Davis.